Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on this week's episode of This Is Why I'm Not Invited. It's me, the one and only Nova Nebula. So glad to have you back. Today, we are going to talk about something that's really important after every scene, and that's aftercare. Not only are we going to talk about what aftercare is, we're also going to discuss about some of the real life confessions that happen in aftercare post scene and talk about all the juicy details. Let's get to it. Aftercare. What is aftercare? Aftercare is basically the care that is given after a scene takes place. It can be an intense scene, it can be a very physical scene, but anything that is as a scene or even play should have aftercare when it's done. It's not just cuddles, despite what everyone thinks. It's not just water bottles or cookies or snacks. It's literally tending to the physical, mental, and emotional crash that follows the intensity of the scene. The more intense that your scene is, the more aftercare that your bottom or sub is going to require. It's helping someone land when they've just been flying high. You are ensuring that they land safely after they've been flying high for so long during your scene. Instead of allowing them to just plummet to the ground and break open even more, you're keeping them safe. And it's something that's really important that everyone should be taking a part of. People act like it's a footnote, a bonus round, a soft blanket at the end of the chaos of the scene that they just had. Aftercare is not optional. It's the spine that keeps the whole body of kink from collapsing. If you don't understand aftercare, then you don't understand the scene. Tonight, we're going to talk about what really happens and what to do when the paddles go quiet, when the lights turn on, or maybe start to get a little bit brighter. This is the time that the juicy stuff starts and all of our confessions start to slip. Why does aftercare matter? Well, your nervous system doesn't know you just did the fun kind of pain, the pain that feels oh so delicious. Your body can't tell the difference. All it knows is that you were just in pain. Your body will flood with adrenaline, dopamine, oxytocin, all of those wonderful feelings, all of the juicy hormones. But then suddenly, silence. That silence, it hits like a free fall. Aftercare is what cushions the crash. Without aftercare, bottoms are going to spiral. Tops, they're going to burn out. And those scenes that seemed so amazing are going to end up going very, very sour. When you receive aftercare, you leave whole. You might be a little shaky and your legs might be jello, but you'll be laughing and maybe even more. All negotiation should have mention and talk about aftercare post scene. Aftercare isn't improv. It's not the I'll wing it or yeah, sure, whatever you want to do, babe, whatever you like. It's negotiated. It's explicit. Blankets, water, space, words. Some people like nothing. They just want to sit in silence. Some people have very particular snacks that they prefer. It needs to be talked about, and everyone has different preferences for their bodies themselves and even after different scenes. Some people need a lot of cuddling. Other people, they need to be left alone. Some people cry, and they cry very hard, but you need to know that that's okay. That's what they expect. And for some people, that's what they want. They want that release. They've had a horrible week and they don't know any other way to express themselves, or they don't have the ability to express themselves and be honest with those of the people that they have around them or in their personal circle. So they come to the dungeon. They find someone to play with because they need to feel those feelings, as raw and as painful as they may be, because this subspace, this aftercare, the place they're trying to get to, that's the only way they know how, or the only way they feel safe expressing those emotions. Guessing isn't care, asking is. Aftercare is 100% non negotiable. I am going to be blunt. If you play without aftercare, you did not finish the scene. You left your partner just hanging there in midair. You cut the rope halfway through and abandoned them mid fall, no less. It's not optional. Aftercare, it's not extra credit. If you cannot provide aftercare, then you should not be playing. It's that simple. One thing that we also really need to talk about is that aftercare, it's not just for bottoms, it's for tops too. People have this misconception that tops and DOMs are these magical, impenetrable, unbreakable force. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. Tops crash too, and they can crash just as hard as bottoms do. The one holding the cane, the person that's tying the rope, the person that's in control, they can fall just as hard after the scene is over, and sometimes harder. I feel like it's worse because there is this assumption that tops don't need aftercare, and that unfortunately can cause them to burn out and crash harder. They question themselves, they get burnt out, they have a whole bunch of displaced emotions that they really don't have the option or people to talk to about it because no one takes the time to ask them how they feel. Tops, they need blankets, they need words, they need water, they need touch, they need care. Aftercare is something that goes both ways all the time, every single scene. At any place you go to, there should be a designated aftercare space or section. In these aftercare spaces, there should be no play allowed, no smoking allowed, no loud sounds. Basically, it's just like the calm area, the resting area, if you would. It's going to be away from the DJ, the speakers, loud noises. There'll be maybe dimmer lights, right? Suddenly, everything kind of gets a little bit quieter in that space. There's extra soft couches and plush blankets. Water bottles are everywhere and tons of fluffy pillows. Ugh, I am such a sucker for fluffy pillows. Anyways, this is where you get to see very intimate moments between tops and bottoms, whether they're in a dynamic or in a relationship. And it's one of the most beautiful things you can witness. It's vulnerable, it's real, and it's raw. That's when the confessions start pouring out. Some of the funniest things that I have ever heard during aftercare, whether it's aftercare with one of my bottoms or I'm just in the aftercare area, it's actually kind of more common than you think. It's the big question of, wait, are my eyelashes still on? Do you know where the other one went? Apparently, eyelashes are really expensive and a lot of them don't hold up the way that bottoms think they do. Another one is, what do you think this bruise looks like? How big do you think that is? Oh my gosh, I can see your fingers. Adrenaline has this amazing ability to basically loosen people up. It gets them to relax. And aftercare, it can turn into the comedy show. As comedic as some things that you hear may sound, it doesn't cancel out how tender that moment is. it actually makes it a lot more human. Sometimes people, they overshare in aftercare. Like, it's therapy. Their exes, their job, their stress, their childhood trauma, like, kink cracked them wide open. And during aftercare, this is where everything starts to leak out. It's funny until you realize that that's the point. Intensity, it strips the armor. What leaks out during aftercare is the truth. Sadly, not all confessions are lighthearted. Sometimes they're pretty dark. People will occasionally say, I don't know who I am outside of this. I I don't think I can go home yet. My family, they think that I'm at the store right now. During these kinds of confessions, aftercare, it feels like you've just given someone a truth serum and they just can't help themselves. It can be messy, it can be heavy, and people need to understand that that's okay. Why do people confess? Well, it's because adrenaline, it lowers those filters, it lowers the wall. Kink strips the masks that we're forced to wear during our everyday life when we're not at the dungeon. Vulnerability, it needs an outlet. And aftercare, this is the moment where people feel safe enough to be able to speak the things that bite back in their daily lives. Sometimes it's funny, other times it's devastating, but it's always real. This is where that mask, this double life that we're leading, it starts to crack. During aftercare, they feel safe, and this is where we expose our truths. In this place, we are actually able to witness the vanilla mask versus the kink reality. Confessions will spill. My partner, they don't know I'm here. I was supposed to be working right now. I I only feel alive when I'm here. And this is why aftercare is vital to every end of every scene, and your scene is not done until you provide it. There is going to be an emotional crash. There's going to be tears. There's going to be hostility. There's going to be, grunting and groaning and sudden anger, or just hysterical, uncalled for giggling. It's all part of the chemical come down. Without care, that crash is going to be brutal. With care, it becomes release. We also need to talk about the physical side of aftercare, or more so, the physical crashing that's going to ensue. Bruises are going to get worse. Yeah, they might not be red right now. It might just be a little bit tender to the touch, but it's going to get worse. And depending on the intensity of your scene, it's going to get really bad. Personally, I love it. I love bruising my bottoms. It's such a pleasure to be able to have bottoms that are so eager and willing to be bruised. For me, the bruising process and watching these bruises form all over the parts that I played with, it makes me feel like I'm a true artist, because that bottom allowed me the honor to paint them with my own hands and with my own toys. And as these bruises bloom over the next few days, it's like watching my art come to life. It gets better every single day. I love how after a scene, my bottom's legs just turn into jelly, and there's nothing they can do about it. Their bodies, although pumped with adrenaline and fueled with it right now, they're gonna come crashing down. Temperature, right? Hot showers, the water is too hot, or cold bites their skin too much. They need warmth. They need sugar, right? After every single scene, both tops and bottoms should have some kind of snack. Personally, I tend to eat a little bit heavier if I know that I'm going to play or I have some scenes lined up. I drink a lot of water before the scene. I actually drink a lot of water afterwards, but if I know I'm going to be playing with people, I am definitely going to have like a carb heavier meal prior to going to the dungeon. So that way I have a whole bunch of energy. I tend personally not to eat too much post scene, but I will have a snack just to help with my blood sugar. I will always offer my bottoms food. And I'm not talking about like a cheeseburger or tacos. I'm talking about granola bars, cookies, something easy, handheld, and it doesn't need a microwave, right? Always offer water. Some of my bottoms bring their own like Stanley cups or whatever, and they just ask for ice. So I'll just refill their jug with more ice and fresh water, right? One of the things that I'm just trying to say is not paying attention to your bottom's body, their flinches, their pulling, shifting weight, the restlessness. It's not a good thing to do. It should not be ignored. And if you can't notice the subtle differences in how they're shifting their weight from one leg to the other, if they start to pull away from you, if there's a lot more resistance or like restlessness where they just seem uncomfortable and you can't get that, that's actually dangerous. We have to make sure that our bottoms survive play physically and emotionally. For some bottoms, there's gonna be a mental spiral, and we have to be prepared for that. It's basically their mind crashing. Some bottoms will basically have that inner voice, that internal noise, and it turns on themselves. Did I do it wrong? Did they like it? Do they like playing with me? Are they mad at me now? This spiral, it's going to eat the players alive if nobody grounds them. During aftercare, this is where you anchor each other and you basically come back to reality calmly, safely, and together. Aftercare is different for everybody, and no two bottoms would like the same thing as somebody else. Everyone has their own requirements, everybody has their own rituals. Again, some people come with their own aftercare bag, and I think that's great. I think it's really important for people as they move forward in their journey to understand themselves better. Every single day, you learn something. And if you learn something about yourself, you should definitely remember you, you are your own advocate. And it's really important that you speak up for yourself because no one knows you. Nobody loves you the way that you love yourself. Self advocacy is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself during negotiation. It doesn't matter if you're a top or a bottom. Please, please, please speak up for yourself. If you are ever in a situation or ever with a person that you feel like you cannot express yourself and you cannot advocate for yourself, you need to leave because that is not a safe place. That is not a safe person. And that is not where you want or you need to be. Aftercare is very crucial to yourself and to your partner that you're scening with. It's vital that you can speak up for yourself and be heard. If you want to be cuddled or have sugar or get water or be talked to, that is well within your right. And you should get that. But it's very important to realize that for some people, just like having a scene, you guys don't have the same likes or you're not into the same kinks. Some people don't like certain things. So if you like to be cuddled a lot during aftercare or for your aftercare and the person you're scening with does not like cuddling, that might be an issue for the two of you. I'm not going to say it's a red flag. It's not a red flag, but it's okay to have disagreements on what you like and don't like. If the person you're playing with does not like a certain thing that you require in your ritual of your aftercare, you have to find something that the two of you can basically agree on and come to terms with and both be happy with. If you can't, then maybe you should find someone else to play with. And again, this is absolutely okay. Not everyone is going to have the same likes or dislikes that you have in kink or in aftercare. And that's okay. We all have preferences. It's really important to advocate for yourself. That way you can get the care that you need before, during, and after a scene. I feel like people really don't take negotiation as serious as they should. And I don't know why. Come on, guys, get it together. Get it together. Communicate, okay? Ask questions. Do not assume, right? Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. Let's not do that today. Don't project your aftercare onto someone else in that same aspect. Do not deny someone their aftercare needs because of your own projections. Ask them, what do you like after the scene? Do you want water? Do you want chocolate? Do you want to be left alone? Do you want a handshake? Do you want a hug? Right? No one here is mind readers, and I'm going to stress that forever. If we were mind readers, the world would be an easy place. We could navigate easily. We would never have conflict. Well, I'm not going to say that because we would still have conflict, but you're missing my point. I'm missing the point. You have to talk about it. You have to ask questions, okay? There's no time limit for negotiation, and I feel like some people think that, like, oh, we've been talking for a long time. They're not going to want to play. No, it's actually great to have an in-depth conversation where you ask a lot of questions. And the more questions you ask, the better prepared you are going to be, not only for the scene itself, but for the aftercare you need to give. And it's going to make that scene so much better. It's going to make that relationship that you have with that bottom get better. It's going to strengthen the trust between the two of you. And this is really important because kink is about trust, right? We trust these people to have our freedom in a way, to have control over us in this moment, in that scene. You have to be able to trust your partner. And if you don't trust them, then why are you there? There is also something that is really important to understand. And that is basically that there is a wrong kind of aftercare. Yes, you can have a great scene. The scene could be phenomenal. Everything went right. But if you fuck up aftercare, you have completely undone everything that was magical about that scene prior. And you might not be able to fix that. That might be completely destroyed and you would never get that back. Trauma dumping. Come on, guys. Do not trauma dump. It's okay to talk about things, but if your partner wants silence and you just won't shut the fuck up, you're ruining it. Okay? Leaving somebody alone. If they want care and they want attention, they want cuddles, you should not be leaving them alone. Talking about yourself, your needs, and your wants when someone is clearly on cloud nine, trying to ask super complicated questions or expect a very complicated conversation when someone still looks like they're out of it. Giving the wrong aftercare is almost as bad as not giving aftercare. And this is why we listen and we do not interrupt, okay? Active listening skills will get you everywhere. A thing to be aware of is that in these public spaces, aftercare isn't always going to be private. And that's when we start to hear things from other people's conversations. We listen and we do not judge. Unless it's about hurting other people or animals, then we judge completely and then we cause drama and then we start throwing chairs. Hypothetically, allegedly. And I would never actually throw a chair in public. I just want you to know that. But it's definitely okay to judge somebody if they're genuinely a bad person. So don't feel bad about that. But I digress, which is normal. Welcome. In public spaces, aftercare areas, they're going to be shared. You're going to overhear things. And these secrets, they are not meant for you. This room, this aftercare area, becomes basically one big messy therapy circle. It's awkward, but it's intimate, and honestly, it's pretty funny. A lot of people confess things that you're just not prepared for because I know that I'm not. I think I hit him too hard. Wait, well, they said it was fine, but now I'm worried. This is my first time playing with them. Are they okay? Yeah, no, they're fine. We've done this before. Have you, though? Have you done it before? Kind of worried. I don't know if they really liked it. I feel drained. These are some of the confessions that I hear from tops when they're kind of just like after the scene, after aftercare, kind of around the cooler, if you would. One of the funniest things I ever heard from a rigger was I forgot what number knot I'm on, and I was at 47. Yeah, I think I'm going to need some scissors. I once heard a top tell a bottom, I don't know what face you're trying to make, but it looks like you're constipated, so stop it. I laughed so hard, and I tried not to laugh hard, so I ended up snorting, but it was hilarious, and I want you to know that they did, in fact, look constipated and not scary or angry at all. So, good job for that top to tell them to stop that. Another really funny thing that I heard from a bottom was, I have all my safe words listed after Harry Potter spells. So if you hear me up there sound like I'm talking in tongues, don't worry. My top knows what's going on. One of the most unprepared for aftercare confessions that I ever personally received was devastating. I knew this person decently well. I wouldn't say that we were best friends, but definitely had, a very social relationship with them, very friendly. Ass to bottom, which was great. We talked about everything, talked about aftercare, talked about what they like. I let them pick the toys they wanted. Everything was going great. And then it wasn't. And I was unprepared for the emotional, I don't know. I don't want to say it was just this massive emotional trauma that came from this person. And I've never felt so unprepared for aftercare in my entire life of doing BDSM. And I've been here for a while. During our scene, well, at the end, when everything was over and this person gave me a hug, I could feel their body trembling, but not like the way that I'm used to. I could feel in this hug a level of desperation and need and just pure sorrow and devastation. This man just shook in my arms, and I could feel his body like just racked up, and he was sobbing. He just started full out sobbing, and I'm not going to lie, I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I thought I seriously injured this man. Literally was using a single tail whip, right? First thing I did was like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Did I break skin? Are you injured? Do I got to do first aid?" Because this man, again, this man who's bigger than I am, he's taller than me, he's like 6'1", just starts sobbing. And I am at a loss for words, and I immediately think that he's injured. Well, was not physically injured, I will have you know. Did not break skin. He was not bleeding. He was coming down and experiencing all of the emotions of a very big personal loss that he had that week. He didn't tell me about it before we played, and I wish he would have. I wish he would have told me a little bit more about his mental state. I tend to ask these questions like, "Hey, how are you feeling today? How are you doing emotionally today?" And I did ask that. And he said that he was fine and just had some stress from work and wanted to relax. He was not honest or forthcoming with me about the massive, devastating loss that he had experienced. And it was a really weird aftercare for the two of us because I was not prepared to console this man in all of his devastation. And then I didn't know how to feel when he told me about what happened. And there are just some things that no one prepares you for. You can't be prepared for it. There's no way. And even though I didn't know him that well, I could feel his loss, and it was horrible, guys. So please, please, please ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Ask about their emotions and their mental state, not just for that day, but for the week, because having that kind of emotional burden dropped on you in a dungeon it's hard for everybody. I've noticed right now that we're talking more about the importance of aftercare than some aftercare confessions, and I'm okay with that. Because again, aftercare isn't just care, it's accountability. It's respect. It's proof that you just don't want the body. You want that person as a whole, and you're willing to connect. It's the foundation for ethical play. Without it, you're just hurting people for sport, and that's unacceptable. Aftercare is the most honest part of kink, in my opinion. Not the scene, not the impact, not the show. It's the aftermath. It's your ability to navigate that crash of someone who put their trust into you. And it's the confessions that come with it. That's where the truth lives. And that's also where the magic is. Well, I'm off for today. Thank you very much for joining me for episode 9. Stay tuned. I'll see you all next week. And don't forget, drink water, touch grass. I'll be waiting.